Hello everyone. On this channel, I don't tend to talk about current events, but something big did just happen and I wanted to mention it. Adobe recently released a statement saying that they would be discontinuing Adobe Animate from March of this year, though if you're an existing user, you would continue to be able to use it until March of next year. This caused quite a riot in the industry because many animators and studios still rely on this software for their projects. In response to this reaction, it does seem like Adobe has retracted their statement and they're instead moving the software into maintenance mode, which means that they're no longer developing new features, but they would continue to support the software. This event had a massive impact on the industry. For example, the studio that I work at, although we're currently using Toon Boom Harmony, we often use Adobe Animate for our smaller budget projects. In fact, we have multiple projects in the pipeline that were intended to go past March of next year, and honestly, if Adobe didn't retract their statement, I don't know what we would have done. I think all of this really revealed a deeper problem in the animation industry as a whole that's existed for a long time. There was once a time where you would be able to purchase a software once and then you'd own that version of the software forever. And then if they released new updates, you'd have to pay for those, but they couldn't take away what you'd already bought. But since then, the entire industry has moved to a subscription-based model, which means that when you pay for the software, you're only paying for access for a single month. And if next month they decide to up the price or discontinue the software, there's very little that you can do as a user, which in the animation industry could be devastating when you've built an entire pipeline and planned a multi-year long project with certain tools in mind. This reminds me of a couple of years ago when Unity had a very similar problem. They released an update to their terms of service that would retroactively charge game developers every time a user downloaded one of their games. Much like this Adobe situation, they walked back a lot of the negative things that they'd proposed, but the loss of trust was already there, and thousands of game developers moved over to Godot. In fact, even Brackies came out of retirement just to teach a whole new generation about the importance of open source by releasing a series of tutorials on Godot. For a long time, there's been a saying in the animation industry that the tools that you use don't really matter. It's the skills that you bring to the table that dictate whether your projects will be good or not. And in essence, that's true, but this event really shows that the software that you choose to use does matter. If you're getting into animation now, it's important to choose software that can't just be taken away from you at a moment's notice. Because although Adobe has walked back this statement, there's nothing to stop them from doing it and committing to it next month. So if you're choosing a tool, focus on perpetual licenses or open source software. For example, Moho Animation still uses perpetual licenses. What this means is that although you do have to pay for updates, if they up the price or they discontinue the software, you still have the license that you paid for. Or you can do what I prefer, which is to use open source software. Even if Blender stops being developed, you can still access the current version and all the versions that have ever come before. But also, because it's open source, it means that some other company will likely pick it up and start developing it for themselves, and you'll still be able to access that. So I just wanted to jump on here and talk about this Adobe situation, and hopefully get some of you thinking about the businesses behind the tools that you use. Are they businesses that you're happy to give your money to? Could they pull the rug out from underneath you at any time? Or have you protected yourself using perpetual licenses or open source software? Right, thanks for watching. I'll see you around.